Lesson 8.2, applying exponent properties involving quotients. Last lesson, we applied exponent properties involving products. So a quick review of that is that if you're multiplying like bases, remember you're going to add the exponents. So that's going to become a to the 5 plus 4, which gives us a to the 9. Okay. The other property we learned is if we have power of a product. If we have power of a product, we have to distribute this power to each factor. So that's going to become a to the third, b to the third. And then the last property that we had was power of a power. So let's say I have a to the third to the second power. When you have a power to a power, you're going to multiply the exponents. So 3 times 2 gives me 6. And that was with the products. Today's lesson is with the quotients. Quotient of powers property. That says to divide powers having the same base, you're going to subtract the exponents. Okay, so if I have a to the m divided by a to the n, I can see I'm dividing like bases, so I'm going to subtract the exponent, which becomes a to the m minus n. Using numbers, I have 4 to the 7th divided by 4 squared. I am dividing like bases, so I'm going to subtract the exponents. So that's going to become 4 to the 7 minus 2, which gives me 4 to the 5th. To break that apart, and let's say I have x cubed divided by x squared. If you can't remember that you're supposed to be subtracting these exponents, you could break this apart to be a product. The numerator would become x times x times x divided by x times x. But when you cancel out, you can see that this pair of x's cancels out, this pair, therefore that only leaves me with x. And if I'm dividing like bases and I subtract exponents, that's going to leave me with x to the first, which is still the same thing. Okay? That's just a little breakdown of why you subtract the exponents. Alright, let's practice doing this. I have 6 to the 12th divided by 6 to the 5th. I don't usually follow their notes, I just use their examples. I can see I'm dividing like bases, so I'm going to subtract the exponents. So that's going to become 6 to the 12 minus 5, which gives me 6 to the 7th. B, I have negative 2 to the 7th divided by negative 2 to the 4th. You remember your negative 2 is inside parentheses, so we're going to keep it inside parentheses. I'm dividing like bases, therefore I'm going to subtract their exponents, so that's going to become negative 2 to the 3rd power. If you were to evaluate this, remember to keep your negative 2 inside parentheses. Look at C. I have 4 squared times 4 to the 8th divided by 4 to the 4th. Remember, you want to simplify your numerator and then your denominator. So if I look at my numerator, I can see that I'm multiplying like bases. Therefore, I'm going to add exponents. 2 plus 8 gives me 10. Divided by 4 to the 4th. I still haven't simplified completely because now I'm dividing like bases, so I'm going to subtract the exponents. So that's going to become 4 to the 6th. And then D, I have 1 divided by y to the 9th times y to the 12th. Okay, I see I have a fraction. When you're multiplying fractions, any number is always going to be over 1. I always put it over 1, that way I can say that I have 2 fractions here. When you multiply fractions, you're just going to multiply straight across. So 1 times y to the 12th gives me y to the 12th. Y naught times 1 gives me y to the naught. Again, I am dividing like bases, so I'm going to subtract the exponents, which gives me y to the 3rd. Alright, moving right along. Let's go into our second property of quotients. This is power of a quotient property. To find the power of a quotient, first you have to find the power of the numerator, and then the power of the denominator. And then you're going to divide. So what that looks like algebraically is if I have a divided by b to the nth power, I have a power of a quotient. That means I have to distribute this power to the numerator and to the denominator. So that's going to become a to the m divided by b to the m. And then using numbers, if I have 4 divided by 7 to the 3rd power, I have a power of a quotient. Therefore, I need to distribute this to the numerator and denominator. So that's going to become 4 to the 3rd divided by 7 to the 3rd. So let's do A. I have R divided by S to the 5th power. I have to distribute to the numerator, so that's going to give me R to the 5th. And then I have to distribute to the denominator, so S to the 5th. And then I have, let me write this problem over here. Okay, I know I'm distributing this power to the numerator and to the denominator, but this negative can go with the 4 or it can go with the W. I usually keep it with my number value. So what that's going to give me, and since the negative is inside parentheses, I have to keep it inside parentheses, to the 3rd power divided by W to the 3rd power. And since I have a numerical and a variable base, I have to evaluate the numerical part. So negative 4 to the 3rd power is going to give me negative 64 over W to the 3rd power. Let's do some of these checkpoints. I can see I'm dividing like bases. Therefore, I'm going to subtract the exponents. Okay. Number 2, you want to simplify numerator and then denominator. In the numerator, I'm multiplying like bases, so I'm going to add the exponents. 5 plus 4 gives me the 9. Drop over your 3 cubed. Simplify from here, I'm dividing like bases, so I'm going to subtract the exponents. So that's going to give me 3 to the 6th. Alright, number 3. I can see I have power of a quotient. I'm going to keep the negative inside the parentheses and I'm going to put it with the 3. So that's going to leave me with r squared divided by negative 3 squared. Leave your negative inside parentheses. So that's going to give me r squared. Negative 3 times negative 3 gives me 9. And then I have power of the quotient. Remember, I have to distribute to the numerator and denominator. So that's going to become 5 to the 4th divided by t to the 4th. And when I evaluate 5 to the 4th, I'm going to get 625 divided by t to the 4th. Now, Example 3 is going to use all the properties in one problem. So I'm going to rewrite the problem over here where I have more room. Okay, I have 2 times y to the 7th divided by y to the 5th all to the 3rd power. Well, remember me telling you to break apart your numerator. So my numerator is going to look like 2 times y to the 7th divided by y to the 5th to the 3rd. So let's simplify our numerator. I have this power I have to distribute. I have to distribute to the numerator, to every factor. So that's going to leave me with 2 cubed times, right, power to a power. I know I have to multiply exponents, so that's going to be y to the 21st divided by power to a power. So I have to distribute this 3 to the denominator, so power to a power is going to give me y to the 15th. Right, so now let's simplify from here. What is 2 cubed? 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 gives me 8. 8 times y to the 21st divided by y to the 15th. I still need to simplify from here because I'm dividing like basis, so I know I have to subtract exponents. So that's going to leave me with 8y to the 6th. I know it seems complicated, but the more practice you do, the easier it's going to get. Let's do number 5 together. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to break my numerator apart. That's going to be 7 times y cubed times z divided by y, and all this is squared. Simplifying numerator, I need to, since I have a power of a quotient, I have to distribute this power to each factor. So that's going to become 7 squared times y cubed squared, power to a power, I multiply, so y to the 6th times z squared divided by, you have to distribute it to the denominator as well. So am I simplifying yet? No, what is 7 squared? 7 squared, I'm going to get 49. Here I'm dividing like basis, so I know I'm going to subtract the exponent, so that's going to leave me with y to the 4th and then z squared. We are now simplified. Alright, number 6 looks like a good one. Okay, I'm going to break the numerator apart, so I'm going to have 2 times s to the 4th divided by t times, okay, that's going to become 2 times t divided by s to the 3rd. I'm not doing anything with this first fraction yet, so I'm going to have 2 times s to the 4th divided by t times, that's going to give me 2 cubed times t cubed divided by s cubed. Breaking it apart step by step. Let's see if we can simplify from here. So I have, what I'm going to have is 2, I'll write it over here, 2 times s to the 4th times 2 cubed times t cubed divided by t times s cubed. When you multiply fractions, you multiply straight across. So we're going to simplify from here. I'm going to have 2 times, what is 2 cubed? 8 times s to the 4th times t cubed divided by t times s cubed. 2 times 8 gives me 16. Dividing like basis, so you're going to subtract exponents, so that's going to leave me with s. And here we're dividing like basis, so subtract exponents, that's going to leave me with t squared. And I think that's probably just about it for today's lesson.